In the ongoing battle between the Nigerian Labour Congress and the federal government over the implementation of the new minimum wage for workers, in the past week, we saw the tussle which led the organized labor to embark on indefinite strike. But within 48 hours, the organized labor relaxed the strike for 7 days, which is ending today, Tuesday, 11th June. We also know that in the process of the implementation of the new minimum wage, the organized labor rejected 62,000 and 100,000 proposals from the federal government. This action by the federal government have put many Nigerians in a tight situation. Also, a religious leader, Reverend Father George, during his mass, was shown expressing his outrage on the national minimum wage debate in Nigeria. He believes that the wealthy elites are out of touch with the struggles of the poor and that their greed is leading the country towards violent revolution. Reverend George criticized the fact that people who make millions of naira a month are arguing against a minimum wage of 60,000 naira. He calls this a crime against humanity and questions how these people can sleep at night knowing that the poor people cannot afford basic necessities like food and medicine.
I have been sick of this problem. I have been sick of this controversy over living wage or minimum wage. And I believe that something is seriously wrong with the heads of many of our leaders. How can anyone who earns 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, not to talk of people who earn 1 million, 2 million, how can they go to sleep in good conscience every day? How can they go to sleep in good conscience and come out to sit down in a boardroom to discuss the sustainability or otherwise of paying 60,000 to the poorest of workers? How can we go to bed and sleep, all those who belong to the elite, who earn 2, 3, 4, 500,000, 1 million? How can you go to sleep in good conscience, I say, if you still have any conscience? How can you go to sleep in good conscience and come out to be debating? I hear people on TV, I watch people on TV, experts, economic experts, corporate executives, government officials, who are taking home more than $1 million in a month. And they are there arguing that 60,000 or over will destroy the economy, is not sustainable. How wicked! You give 60,000 to a poor worker, a poor worker who may have a family of 2 or 3 or 4, for his feeding, for his accommodation, for his house rent, for his medical care, for his children's school fees. How wicked! How blind! How can we do that? And we think that God will bless our country. We think that it is by bringing a new national anthem for God to bless our country. How can you commit this crime against humanity? For me, this is a crime against humanity. Because the poor people who cannot afford to buy gari, I'm not saying they will buy that they are to buy sardine. I'm saying buy gari, poor people who cannot buy gari. I'm not talking of meat or fish. Poor people are dying because they have no money to cure malaria. How can you go to sleep in good conscience? Those of us who belong to the elite, how can we go to sleep with good conscience and we are debating and we are discussing and we vote 500 million naira to meet and debate about paying 60,000 to the poor? My dear friends, I see this as a new form of apartheid. Nigeria is one of the most unequal societies in the entire world. A society where it's like the animal farm. A society where we have conspicuously rich people, people who are living in conspicuous consumption, and others who are in deplorable, dehumanizing poverty. If you have somebody in this country that takes home 1 million naira, I mean 1 million, I'm not talking of 30 million naira, 1 million naira in the month, and he can open his mouth to be part of a discussion about the poor getting 60,000 naira. I say anyone who earns up to 1 million naira in the month should keep his or her mouth shut when he hears them debating about taking 60,000 for the poor. More than 60 years after independence, we are running an apartheid society. This time it's not racial apartheid, it's economic apartheid. We are running an apartheid society of people of conspicuous consumption, flying in private jets around at government expense, people who are riding 4, 5, 6, 7 SUVs with pilot vehicles, chasing the poor out of the road, and poor people, you are debating, you are discussing, you are over 60,000 for the poor. You insult the poor by saying 30,000, and later you say 48,000, and now you say 60,000, and you pay more than 60,000, you come out with 62,000. You insult poor Nigerians. I say there is hardly any society I know that is as divided as the Nigerian society. And a society that is so divided is just sitting on a keg of gunpowder. I have warned here before that the revenge of the poor is at the corner. The revenge of the poor is at the corner. I am not calling for it, but it will happen as night follows the day. Because when you so reduce people, you reduce people to this dehumanizing level. Nature does not allow a situation of islands of affluence amidst a sea of poverty. Nature does not allow it. And let me warn those in the elite. Let me warn those in the tripartite committee of government. Let me warn that it is in the course of nature that when a predator continues to devour the very resources that the predator needs for his own sustenance, nature will take out the predator in order to have equilibrium, in order to have a measure of equilibrium. Nature is about balance, you know. All of nature is about balance, and human beings are part of nature, and Nigerians are part of nature. If the predator who needs the animals in the kingdom, it needs the animals in the book to survive, if it is recklessly devouring the very animals it needs for its own survival, if it is devouring it recklessly and senselessly, nature will step in and remove the predator so that there can be balance in the system, in the ecosystem. Let me warn that all those who are in government, I hear, I have not confirmed, that there are people taking home almost 30 million naira in the month. And you have the guts and you have the temerity to sit down, and your conscience allows you to sit down to discuss about 60,000 naira for poor worker for the whole month, and you are the one that has all the opportunities of Esther code and all kinds of perquisites of office. You sit down to discuss about 60,000, and that is all that the person will have in the month. You sit down to discuss this and come out and say this is not sustainable. How is 30 million naira sustainable in that economy? How is it sustainable that the leader has 100 SUVs going with him to the airport? How is it sustainable? How is it sustainable that government leaders junket around the world? How is that sustainable? I say we are committing a crime against humanity. And if we do not repent and retrace our steps immediately, the revenge of the poor is at the corner. Do not hold me responsible, because while the devastation was on, I did not keep quiet. Do not hold me responsible, because while the madness was on, I did not sit on the fence. I kept on shouting that the revenge of the poor is at the corner unless we change our course. And if we do not change our course, we will end up where we are headed. And where we are headed is devastation, is destruction, is violent revolution. I rest my case.
We also have more reactions from a notable Nigerian, area father, who shared his thoughts and concerns on the recent developments in Nigeria between the NLC and the federal government.
I mean, just look at this one now, that they were fighting for 60,000 naira, and the best offer you could come up with was 62,000. I mean, like the lady said it all. The money that NAS earns alone is more than what the whole civil servants in Nigeria earn. And when you think about the expenditure of governance in itself, you now begin to wonder, is it that they don't prioritize? How can you not think of the common man? These are the people who voted you into power, supposedly. So what's your take on this? What's your take on this unfair and unjust treatment?
No, they talk like that.
Huh?
They were not voted into power.
Okay, well.
They bulldozed themselves into power. They were not voted into power.
Yeah, but my point is, the labor union, NLC themselves, I mean, as their bites now become worse than their back now become worse than their bites. Because I mean, I don't understand.
Not be today, Ruth. I remember the year 2003. Yeah.
That's more than 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. Oshimole was at the helm of affairs in NLC. Yeah. I was in charge of mobilizing Lagos. And I did. Then that was a height of the Charlie Boy brand. Oshimole was amazed with my mobilization skills. As soon as we picked him from the airport, the plan was to go to the labor headquarters in Lagos, organize ourselves, and set out for the march from there. So as we got to the place, we wasted time and time and time, and then I now saw labor breaking into different groups, having their secret meeting. I didn't know what they were talking about. My own, they say, let's hit the street. Let's do something. Let's express our anger for what was going on at the time. Then all of a sudden, a fight broke out, between Oshimole's people, boys, and some advocacy group that came for the march. Now, so I go, before I could say Jack, I saw myself separating fight. I was blooded all over. Not my blood, but the blood of those fighting. I managed to resolve and take care of that situation. As I looked my body, now blood full everywhere. I was looking for Oshimole to go tell her, I need to go and change. I can't carry this blood-soaked clothes and be, going on protest with you. I went back home. I was living in Baghdad at the time. Ruth, before I came back, they now canceled that.
They had cancelled it?
They had cancelled it.
So all the bloodshed was for nothing, basically?
For nothing. They've cancelled it. So, no be today. And at that time, because I was having a running battle with our then president, I think it was Obasanjo. Yeah? And that was when the third term stuff was going on. And as naive as I was back in the days, I didn't know that they were trying to prop me up to get me to join the bandwagon. Yeah? So I was having my information from the villa. Yeah? Because there are people who will be my own fans. So then they tell me things. And back then, the news was that, this person they carry for head, like saying na your friend, that's the Oshimole guy. They come here, we they do what they do together. Don't trust that guy. Yeah, that was the message I was getting.
But I
so you cannot be effective when you're in bed with the number one enemy. You kiss their ass, you take their money, how are you going to be effective?
But do you think this attitude or this behavioral pattern has trickled down even up to now? Which is
of course, that's why I'm sharing the story with you, of course. Of course.
This is not very encouraging for the common man. So who would
There is nothing encouraging in this country anymore until when we say enough is enough. And I keep wondering, when will enough be enough? When will enough be enough?
But are you saying that it is a hopeless situation relying on the National Labour Congress or TUC or any of these other...
They're already in bed with the enemy now. So why are we going to...
Who will fight for us then? Who will fight for the common man?
Who will fight for the common man?
Yes.
You did ask me that question.
But so what level...
The common man, waiting do in hand, waiting do in foot. If we can't fight for ourselves, then what is the point? Okay? The people, the rulers and the ruiners of Nigeria has demonstrated in very clear terms that one, they don't have the pulse of the people. They don't send us any message at all. You can see the kind of funds, the kind of money being apportioned amongst them in this kind of hunger, in this kind of frustration and hopelessness.
You would even say, okay, you know what? Cut down salaries by half.
For where
and then put it
where can they ever do that? Can they? Because these are people who are not thinking about you and me, who are not thinking about the pain of the masses. They don't bloody care. They no send anybody. They are in it to build their own empires. Get that straight into your head. And until we understand the facts, it's not about you be Yoruba or I be Igbo or that Hausa brother. These are the tactics, okay? They activate to keep us fighting one another.
But another thing, now that when you said about not being Yoruba or Igbo or whatever, there's also the accusation that the NLC themselves are supposed to be partisan players. They're not supposed to be supporting any particular candidate.
What do you mean by partisan players? Anybody will see the truth. Just talk the truth.
Yeah, but doesn't that compromise your stance?
Compromise what? Compromise what? This fight is between the haves and the have-not. Period.
Yeah, but
this fight is between good and bad. Say I see waiting they good, waiting go benefit everybody. Then I no go talk because I
don't quite agree with you. I think that as a labor union party, as a labor union or trade union, whatever, that you're not supposed to openly support a particular party. You're supposed to play neutral. Because whoever it is that now gets there, you have to hold the person accountable. I don't think that you're supposed to, because if you support APC, PDP, Labour Party, whatever, as a labor union,
maybe you're not supposed to.
You're supposed to be neutral.
Support a party, but you're supposed to always support the truth.
Yes, you can support the truth.
Yes.
And you can stand for
What
the
is
truth.
the truth? The people in power, the rulers and ruiners of this country, no send the frustrated, the hopeless masses of this country.
Isn't that what the labor union is supposed to, National Labour Congress is supposed to be doing?
Yes, so if they support the truth coming from a certain quarter, it's my own personal opinion, it's not yours, it may not be a general opinion, but I think, yes, as long as they're supporting what them and their conscience know is the truth. But you know, in this country, we just have a bunch of hypocrites. You know, it's all a bunch of deceit and lie. The government we have on ground today is a propaganda government. They are not interested in
the welfare of the common man.
The welfare of the common man. That is where I am concerned. And the most aggrieved and the most disenfranchised group are young people, the youths. Look at somebody like me now. You know, all my children don't jackpot. No be me tell them to jackpot. At my age, when I should have some of them around, encouraging me, gingering me, I know they see anybody. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Because of the insecurity in the country, because of the lack of vision, because of the hopelessness. At my age, the last quarter of my life, I find myself by myself. And I'm supposed to be happy.
It's a depressing thought. I mean, one must admit. But I want to ask, what is causing this discord within the National Congress and the trade union and other platforms?
It's all about money.
So money has
It's corruption.
And
It's corruption. It's money. It's corruption. It's because we have a demonic atmosphere. That's how best I choose to describe it. It's very demonic. It's very demonic that you don't have your paws on the people you're supposed to be leading. You they award yourself all the inheritance in all our national. Shebi then said then they bake cake. When
Yes.
they bake the cake finish, now who they chop up?
They sell.
Your
sell
name
the
dey
propaganda.
there, my name dey there. Is it not about them? Okay? Rather than build institutions, they're busy building their private empires. Is that what leadership is all about? Tell me, Ruth.
But this is rather discouraging because so who now speaks for the masses? Who will now be the voice and the opium of the people?
I
If
did a
the
post.
party that the labor union that we rely on doesn't seem to have to bite. The back seems to be louder than the bite because I cannot understand how the government can tell you 60,000 and then come up with an offer of 62,000. Even that in itself is the height of its insensitivity.
Yeah.
And then they now bring theirs down to 250,000. As in, where's the compromise?
I'm surprised that they no being offer. Shebi, what was the last offer? 60,000.
60,000. And now it's now
I'm surprised say they no
62,000.
make 60,000 and 50 kobo.
Do you even see use kobo, sir? I don't think we use kobo anymore.
You know.
No, but because I'm thinking, I mean, 60,000, 62,000, what's the difference? How can a family of five feed
I want to
on
see
that?
how NLC, maybe, let me just say, let me chill a little bit. Now that the government has said what they have said, let me see what NLC. Because I did a post about a week and a half ago, and I said when this thing started, for some strange reason, I don't know where I got the belief that maybe this is the turning point where NLC
Will stand their ground,
would mount.
dig their heels in.
Yeah. And I put out a post saying that if this protest continues in the next 1 week, that I'll get up from where I am and mobilize 90% of the Nigerian bikers and Okada people in this country, and we'll pour out on the street, because that would be a good time for everybody to fall out. Because Gary no cheap for North, Gary no cheap for West, nowhere Gary cheap. Everybody they hear him, including myself. I was praying fervently for that, but it never came to pass. So I'll just say, we'll give them one more try. But it's for Nigerians to understand that Jesus no dey come tomorrow. There is no pastor. There is no pastor who can do any miracle for Nigeria to change. What my people don't understand, especially the youth of this country, is to get the fact that their future is in their hands. Oyibo people, they say, he who is down means fear no fall. Okay? Things don't jabrata finish. We're all in a very hopeless situation. So what is the fear? This life that we're living, now the kind of life that we deserve, is it really what we deserve? No. So waiting go make you fear now.
So you're saying we should get out of our comfort zones?
Before, uncle, if you
And-
don't like
No, but
that, you
okay,
can stay in your house and die.
So
Die insignificantly.
Get out of our comfort zones and do what exactly?
Let me give you one analogy. There's a certain madman. Every time on the street where I live, that madman, he go dey pass, is always threatening and frightening people. People they
And what
fear.
people?
They frighten people.
Okay.
Because people they fear. Some people no want make their white cloth, make this madman throw dirty on them. Some people no want to be caned by this madman. So as soon as this madman enter the street, everybody goes to their home, to their tents, and they will lock the door, hiding. That madman, you are only emboldening that madman. You just dey give am more ginger to they do that nonsense way they do. The day, 5, 10 people will confront that madman and say enough and show the madman, say their own grace was passing own grace. That madman will cease to perambulate on that street anymore.